Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where our previous issues of not having a large enough workforce appear to largely be solved. We now have our unemployment number creeping upwards all the time. So, with that in mind, one thing that I would like to do, for sure, is hop into our buildings and switch off of being privately owned. If we switch to being publicly traded, then that will end up being an additional 5,000 capitalists just for the food industries. So, while it might not have been good to be on publicly traded earlier, I believe it to be good now. I'm just watching these numbers. They are going down very slightly. That might change when the number of capitalists get in there. So we'll keep an eye on that. This will get more employment. But another thing that it might end up doing is increasing the wages sufficiently far that some of these things become unprofitable. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm not 100% certain if that effect will happen, but we'll see. So let's see here. State-run churches would mean... Got it. So that's an equal number. Okay. Bourgeoisie patronage would be kind of an equal number as well. I'm just switching it to make this indicator go away. There we go. We'll go back to film art. And we would love to be on an oil-fired plant, but that's not going to be a thing. We're going to be coal-fired. Okay, secular administration. This is the same number of bureaucrats as it is clergymen, so we can leave that be. What we're really looking for here is trade nexus instead of bureaucracy nexus, huh? That's interesting. We'll leave it be for now. And then this stays on privately owned. There's no option to make that publicly traded. So we'll go ahead and have these be publicly traded. Beautiful. And we're just looking to get people employed. That is the biggest goal here. I do still believe that our minimum wage is probably driving some of this unemployment. That said, the game isn't telling us that. So we'll see if that's true or not. We can switch our railways to be government run here. That's a lot more potential employment. 60,000 would be our net as opposed to 40,000 here. So government run would be better. Now keep in mind that we can't have most of these be government run because we're not a command economy. So that'll be fine. Publicly traded should be better for a lot of that. And we'll go ahead and tick on forward here. Beautiful. Okay. So, just checking in here, that's a lot of welfare payments. And I think most of this welfare is likely... Let's see. Welfare payments are a direct subsidy paid by a country to all pops in the workforce that receive wages lower than the defined fraction of the normal wage. Okay. So, I think what's going on here is that that's simply these unemployed. 3.66 million. That number skyrocketed. I think we need to build agriculture. I think this is a necessity at this point. So these have a set amount of arable land, right? So we need to try to figure out where would be the best place to... Or what would be the best type to build? And that would be rye farms, followed by livestock ranches, followed by wheat farms. So we're just going to max out our rye farms in locations where they already exist, I think. Yes, in Pomerania, the earnings are quite low. This is a lot. I didn't actually want these in Silesia. Hang on. Hang on a moment. The Silesia ones were a mistake. Okay, there we go. We will probably ultimately want to build them there, but for the moment, that was a mistake. Now, the rest of these we can build up like so. Okay, like that. So next up would be the livestock ranches, and we would max these out in locations where they already exist. Not in Brandenburg. We'll cancel the Brandenburg ones here in a moment. Okay. So in Brandenburg, where is this? It'll be in here somewhere. It was near the end. It's all Württemberg, Silesia, Franconia, Rhineland. Here's Brandenburg. Cool. So we cancel these. Beautiful. Next up was going to be wheat farms in locations where they already exist, but that's gone. So Brandenburg rye farms appear to be where it's at. Beautiful. So we'll just do that. That'll max out our arable land. And the heavy focus on rye farms will help our sugar production. It may not be great for our overall food production. We'll see how that ends up playing out. So we're chilling at negative 500k right now. The question is that okay? We could just bump up to medium taxes while we're constructing here. I think that's fine. Okay, we just dipped down another 700k. Yeah, those welfare payments are getting extreme. So we've got low market access in quite a lot of locations here. We should make sure that we have railways building in all of those. It is building in Hanover. It looks like it is building in all of these locations already. Cool. So we'll get that underway, and we'll get that all worked on. So the rye farms, they build pretty quickly, right? We're not too concerned about that. We definitely do need to bring up our market access. Diplomatic pact at risk of breaking. Our trade agreement with France. Okay, that's fine. We will go ahead and get rid of this trade route. We have an input goods shortage of artillery. Noted. Dye, glass, and oil. Oil is not surprising in the slightest. The major concern right now is the market access. If our market access starts to drop too hard, problems will ensue. There's no doubt about that. So I would like to enact no migration controls. Who would be angry about this? Trade unions, rural folk, and petite bourgeoisie. Okay. But I would like people to be able to migrate around. 3.98 million now. Okay. Wage subsidies, huh? People would really like this, but we're paying a lot in wage subsidies as it is. So that would increase our welfare payments by 50%. That would give us more potential social security investment, which is here right now. Okay. I don't think that's a good idea at this exact moment. In the future, perhaps. But right now, I think we've got bigger problems. So we're working our way through construction of these farms. Oh, Hohenzollern wants to join our customs union. Absolutely. They might join us now. They might join the Federation. Fingers crossed that they do, but at least they're in our customs union. So we come in here and we could even absolve another obligation, in theory. They may not join because we are allied, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So we're definitely running a deficit right now. That's not super shocking. I want to check in at our market access. Okay, this is improved. Let's check in on our railways here. We definitely need a railway building in Hesse at the top of the priority, one in Rhineland at the top of the priority, one in Bavaria, one in Silesia, one in West Prussia. Do we need one in Pomerania? I don't think so, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, we'll get that all underway. And we'll keep an eye on our market access. We just don't want our market access to drop while we're making this huge investment in our, hopefully, our unemployment going down. Hopefully. Paper, glass, and electricity are currently considered expensive. Okay, that is noted. We are almost certainly going to want to do something. Okay, we do have some unrealized taxes. Due to our average tax waste. Where do we have tax waste at? Trying to zoom in here. That was a little bit spicy. Presumably it's due to some of this turmoil. Yeah, it'll be due to some of that turmoil. For the moment, that's okay. I want to check in here. 869K on welfare payments right now. That has dropped. That has dropped. And enacting wage subsidies would be really popular. Like, that will help our radicalism a lot. Plus 50% welfare payments, and then the actual institution would be another 20. So that would be 70% welfare payments. That's a lot. That said, if we were to get our unemployment under control, what we really need to do, I feel like, is we really need to get our education fixed. We are on public schools, yes. But we've been chilling at 80% literacy for a very long time. I would really like to get our education ranked up here. So how can we do that? Well, I don't know that it's actually in our laws that would end up happening. Would this government size allowance, legitimacy from government clout, from votes as well? Indeed. That's interesting. I don't think there's really a path to do that right now. Enacting wage subsidies would be good if it wasn't for the financial concerns. Here's the question. How much do we actually care about the financial concerns right now? That is a good question. We're on medium wages right now. If we were to increase, or rather, we're on medium taxes right now. If we were to increase our taxation anymore, our legitimacy would drop, and we would start to have some major radicalism ticking in from that. That would not be good. We could always drop our government wages. And our military wages, which I think is a good idea right now. We drop that down, and that cuts our deficit dramatically. Looking at this, 3.42 million. So we're definitely cutting into our unemployment. There's no doubt about that. That's good. I'm also noticing that we're only getting 1836 construction. That's interesting to me. Are we having some issues with not enough workers? So I think that's mostly in like Brandenburg that we have this built up in. So our construction is in here somewhere, I think. Yeah, the construction sector. Oh, that's at 100%. Okay, noted. That's very interesting. We are going to have a lot of this construction done soon, which does mean we're still going to have unemployment issues. I think that's pretty clear. Politicians and interest group leaders are dying and retiring. Despite not enjoying full rights under North German law, some wealthier, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Occitan? I'm not sure. Occitan? Something like that. I can look it up. Let's find out how to pronounce that. What do we got here? This is unhelpful. Hang on a moment. Okay. My search did not get a pronunciation guide. Okay. Pronunciation.
Occitan.
Occitan. Okay. Fantastic. Some wealthier Occitan people have begun moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. If we want our children to have a future, this is where we should raise them, he said. I want them to live somewhere safe. She crossed her arms. Have you seen the looks we get? When people talk about safe, they don't mean safe for us. They mean safe from us. So, radicals from discrimination, or we make the evangelicals and the petite bourgeoisie unhappy. Okay, I don't care about that. Cool. So, minus 10% education access due to the evangelicals having an approval of unhappy. Maybe we do care about that. Hang on. The evangelicals are in power right now. Okay. Got it. So, they strongly oppose public schools and women's suffrage, endorsing monarchy and national supremacy. %14% is radical. Okay, because I was like, hang on, this doesn't add up, but it does. Yeah, that makes sense. Minority language acceptance and segregation eroding. Do those malices time out? So if we go to our modifiers here, 3 years. Okay. Sure, that'll be fine. Cool. We could enact a parliamentary republic. This actually has good endorsement. The evangelicals would be very unhappy. The Junkers would as well. It would drop our legitimacy, but we could recover that. Interesting. This would have some potential downsides. Indeed. And it looks like it's basically the exact same in terms of opinions from the presidential republic. Okay. We could work on it. It's gonna cause some potential issues. But I kind of like this. People are gonna be angry. So, the trade unions are now happy. Hypothetically, what would happen if we were to reform our government and ditch the Conservative Party and go for the Free-Minded People's Party? Yeah, that doesn't really work. The reason for that is because the Conservatives won the last election, and they're strongly opposing what we're doing here. So, that makes sense. We've only got a 33% chance of enacting this. We'll see what ends up actually happening. Indeed. However, our GDP has hit 1.2 billion. I like it. That's absolutely great. And we are currently churning our way through these livestock ranches as well as our rye farms. We're most of the way through these constructions. Let's check in on our market access. We definitely need to do some work on our market access. So that is going to be in, it looks like Württemberg, in Hesse, Westphalia, Friesland, Pomerania, of course, West Prussia, and Silesia. We maybe don't need the one in Pomerania. We certainly don't. What we need there is workers, right? That's what we need in Pomerania. How many workers do you have? It doesn't actually say. There's only 457 unemployed people in Pomerania. 21%. Is this indicating that the urban, or that the power plant has no workers? Possibly. But all of these are looking to hire. Pomerania really needs people. So, let's go into our decrees here. What are we running? We're running consumption taxes. So we can actually drop our consumption tax on radios. And we could run a greener grass campaign in Pomerania, looking to bring in additional people here. Pomerania desperately needs it. Additional people here. So we are... Oh, we were already running one there. Hang on a moment. I'm dumb. It was already there. Of course it was. So we do that. That'll be fine. We can bring in additional... Well... We can run a greener grass campaign in, like, Bavaria as well. Sure, that'll be fine. So it looks like nobody's too upset about the Parliamentary Republic in that they are not starting a potential revolution over not having it. Fascinating. Clear locked map mode. Down in this corner over here when we're in that. That's interesting. Oh, it's in the Loyalists. Okay. But how are we supposed to access that button? I don't know. That's kind of strange, Paradox. I don't know how we're supposed to get there. Regardless, let's take a quick look here. 3.42 million in terms of our unemployed. So it's starting to tick back up, and we are now basically constructing everything here that we can. We're going to start building again, though, with our automatic construction. That is happening as we speak. So that should be reasonably fine. Reasonably. We have broken 60 million. We're number 5 worldwide in terms of population. We are behind Great Britain, Austria, British Raj, and Great King. Ching? Probably with a CH sound. Okay, well that's fine. Can we get away with cutting our taxes, and do we need to? We don't need to. We could get away with it. Almost certainly. We're going to be finishing up a bunch of these rye farms shortly, but our unemployment is absolutely skyrocketing. Definitely. And that's fine. Well, not really fine, but it's better to have too many workers than too few, I think. We are now making a ludicrous sum of money, to the point where, why wouldn't we go to very low taxes? Well, because that does put us negative, but we can at least go to low taxes here, which will reduce our radicalism if we have standard of living decreases, which I don't necessarily expect. We do have low market access in a bunch of locations, primarily Pomerania, and the primary reason here, again, just boils down to we don't have workers in our railways. Pomerania needs people. Lots of people. We are migrating in here annually with 50% population growth. That is insane. Okay, that's bonkers. People are migrating out of Bavaria. Sure. So it looks like our migration is actually functioning here. That's good to know. But our unemployment is continuing to go up. So we're continuing to work on our market access here primarily, but I do want to work on some of these input goods shortages, namely artillery, dye, opium, oil. We can't do anything about oil or opium other than importing them. There's not really anything to import for oil. Let's check on opium. Sure, we can import a little bit. That'll be fine. But dyes and artillery we can work on. So, dye. That is made in synthetic plants, of course. So let's hop into here and let's take a quick look. What do synthetics plants consume? Wood, fertilizer, sulfur. Well, we should have plenty of wood and sulfur since we've got all that maxed out. In theory, it can't get better. So we would potentially need more fertilizer, so chemical plants. How are we doing on fertilizer? Let's take a quick look at that. Okay, our fertilizer is doing okay. So I'm not too concerned about that right now. So synthetics plants, they are negative in their earnings because wood is expensive, it looks like. Let's take a quick look in, like, specifically Brandenburg. Yeah, by far their biggest cost is wages, which we're not super surprised about that. Okay. Weekly balance of minus 16.1k. Okay. That's very interesting. There's a lot of vacancies here, too. So I don't think we actually need to expand our synthetics plants. We do have a revolution brewing now to preserve monarchy, and that does have critical radicalism, so we're going to have to back off on this, I think. 134 days to the next checkpoint. 9 weeks. What's 9 times 7? Not 134, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it definitely isn't. So 7 times 9 is 63. Of course it is. So we've got to give up on enacting the parliamentary republic. So that's out of here, and that's fine. This revolution will now tick down. Sure. And our radicals dropped pretty dramatically as well. Cool. Okay, so the next question is, Well, we've got a sugar input goods shortage, but what about paper and glass and telephones? Paper is currently expensive. We can take a quick look at that with our paper mills here. Paper is not profitable. So why is that the case? If we go into Brandenburg and we look at our paper mills, well, once again, it's because wood is expensive. So we should probably think about doing wood imports. That's a huge amount that we can get from the Austrian market. Okay. That should do the trick there. In theory. Okay. So that should deal with wood, and that should actually help quite a lot of our situations. What about glass? What's going on here? So we need about twice as much glass as we are producing. And let's take a quick look in Brandenburg once more. To take a look here, that was our coal mine. Let's look at our glass industry here, our glass works in Brandenburg. And this is pretty much dyes. That's super expensive. So we could do an import route of dyes. That's definitely a possibility. That'll help the cost there come down a bit, and hopefully we can get some of this balanced a little bit better that way. We've got an election coming up, and how are things looking? The Free-Minded People's Party are taking 60% of the vote. Okay, so if we hop in here, this is currently a contested government. Oh, the evangelicals left the Conservative Party. That's wild. Okay, so we're not looking to do any of that just yet. Yeah, we're still at a contested government here. That's fine for the moment. Okay. Taking a look at our market access, that looks reasonably fine. It should be getting auto-expanded. Unfortunately, our unemployment, despite our best efforts, is just continuing to go up. Our GDP has declined slightly. So how can we get these people employed? Well, if they're not being employed in the locations that we have constructed here, Iron Mines is full on employees. The livestock ranches are still hiring. The wheat farms are still hiring as well. Okay, so I'm guessing that these unemployed are just in locations that suck. Let's take a look here. 330,000 of them are here in Baden. And the wheat farms are filling up there. Railways are full. Glassworks are not. I think a lot of this is due to the wages. So, wage subsidies wouldn't really help that, right? If we go into our politics laws here, the core issue comes down to, where is it? Workers' protections here. So workers' protections is popular. Regulatory bodies is not. But what workers' protections is doing is it's making it very difficult for our businesses to hire a sufficient amount of workers. Because the minimum wage is higher than their production allows them to sell, right? So what we need is for those higher workers to also have higher productivity. So if we go into here, there are locations like, for example, well, a good example of that is the motor industries. If we go down here, this would be quite a bit more productive. But it also requires a ludicrous amount of oil. And so we are at a bit of an impasse here. We need more oil to be more productive. We need to be more productive in order to make our wages sustainable. And we can't cut our wages because it's too unpopular. So, I don't know if it's modeled in this game, but this is kind of how you end up into an inflation spiral. So I think we'll see if that's modeled in this game, but it's also going to be done in like 3.5 years. So we may not have enough time to get into that. We'll see. For the time being, this is what it is. The weird thing about it is the way that the prices are capped in this game means that that sort of inflation is like poorly modeled, for sure. But this is like starting to get into the beginnings of Weimar Republic territory, if we were to allow that spiral to continue. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we'll see if we can solve this problem, but I don't know that there is much of a solution to it, in all honesty, with the tools that we have. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, MLoHunt80, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.